In this video, we're going to create a large format estimate. We're going to do it using the square foot calculation. So I'm in the Estimates module, and I'm going to hover over the Estimates tab and select Add New. Then I'm going to start typing my customer name, and it appears from the CRM section. All their various details are here on the left, including their addresses. And the item type I'm going to choose this time is going to be large format. Then I'm going to choose the square foot option. We've got the choice between square foot, linear feet, or a tiling option. I'm using square feet. And I'm going to call this estimate display boards. And I'm not going to worry about the various dates at this stage. We can deal with these later on. So I'm clicking next. And on this second screen, we can put in up to 4 quantities. So let's quote the customer for, say, 8, 10, 12, and 14 display boards. And I can choose which machine I'm going to print on. I'm going to use this Agfa. It's a flatbed machine. But I don't want this material. That's the default material. I'm going to choose something more suitable. I want some sort of a foam board. So I'm selecting an inventory item for my inventory list, and I'm going to use this Foamex board here. And I'm actually not going to worry about this default spoilage. This comes from the press settings. I'm actually going to zero those out, and we'll talk about that a bit more in a moment. I'm printing a single-sided in full color. Let's say there's going to be about 95% ink coverage, and I'm going to do this on the highest quality. So the board I've chosen to use is 96 by 48 inches. And I could, for my item size, I could choose a standard size here from the drop-down, or I can put in a custom size. I'm going to do a custom. I'm going to say these finished boards are going to be 85 by 40, let's say. And the system's correctly worked out that we can only get one of these finished boards on each print sheet. And everything that we don't print on is going to be wasted. I'm going to use this function here to say use the full sheets. So what that means is we're going to charge the customer for the full board that we're printing on, including all the waste that we're trimming off. So we've got the choice of taking that cost on ourselves or charging the customer. And by using full sheets, I'm going to charge the customer for it. I've then got a cutting cost being added, and I'm going to click finish. So that's the costing for the print, the substrate, and the cutting. I'm now going to come to my signage costs, and I'm going to add a lamination cost. Here it is. This is a pre-built formula. It's looking at the area of the job that we're printing and then charging it at a cost per square foot. In this case, it's 95 cents a square foot. And then there's also a $10 setup charge. So I'm going to save that. I'm also going to add a studio cost, assuming we have to maybe just tidy up the customer's file. How many hours for artwork? I'm going to say half an hour. So it's just a bit of a cost for checking or tidying their file. I'm going to click finish. So we're on the estimate summary screen, and you can see we've got a column for each of the 4 quantities that we're estimating. Then we've got a breakdown of our cost for the foam board we're printing on, the ink, the printing cost, and the cutting. We've also got that lamination charge and the artwork charge. And I've added the lamination and the artwork as sub-items. So these are built into the cost of the display board. So when we create this as an estimate for the customer, they won't see the breakout of the cost of this lamination and the artwork charge. It's all being built in together. If we wanted them to see one or both of those costs, we could do that. We could create a separate item on the estimate, and then they'd see 2 items. one for the display boards, and then perhaps another item for the artwork. But I've built it all in, so it's just going to be one item. We've got our subtotal price here, which is what we're going to charge the customer before the sales tax. And down at the bottom, we can see our gross profit, both as a dollar and as a percentage. And we're not actually making enough on here. You can see this is a very low margin. So we could add more markup here if we wanted to. I'm going to add 100% to all of these. In our system, you've got a choice. You can build your markups into the different elements. So you can add a markup onto the substrate, onto the ink, the printing, the cutting, and onto these costs. Or you can add it as a lump sum here at the end, or you can do a combination of the two. And in the training process, we take people through the different options here and we work out what's best for them based on how they work. On the right-hand side, we've got a number of description fields, and the system's been populating these based on the choices we made. I need to pop in some text here about the artwork. I can just type something freehand. Or if I click on the plus button, I can choose a phrase from the phrase book. Now, I actually don't have one for half an hour there. Oh, there is one, 30 minutes. So I can click on that. That'll do for us. And in the finishing, I could type in there, but I think I've got a phrase here, laminated front only. So I'm going to save my changes there. Then I'm going to come to my estimate options and click print email. And the system's going to build an estimate for us from a template. So this is a PDF estimate. And we can see all the details of the item on here. We can see the quantities. We can see a unit price, a subtotal for the total amount, the tax amount, and the total including the sales tax. And if we're happy with that, we can email that straight off to the customer. The system's built an email for us from a template we've set up, and we can just click send. So we don't need to type an email each time. Having sent that to the customer, we can then change the status. I'm going to put this to awaiting approval. And that means that at a glance, we can always tell where each estimate is up to. This is estimate 3162. If we go to the estimates list, we can see all our recent estimates. And here's 3162 sitting at the top for action, painting and decorating, for my display boards. And we can see the status is awaiting approval. So that was an estimate for a large format item using the square foot calculation.